Woo!
Yeah!
It's the Cool Nerd Week Show! That's Jess.
And that's Sasha.
And we are live on Adobe Radio, as we are every single Monday.
You can find us on Instagram at Cool Nerd Weed Show and YouTube at Cool Nerd Weed Show, X at Cool Nerd Weed, and where all of your podcasts are found, and especially on Adobe Radio.
Yes. Thanks, Adobe. As always, we love you so much. The best programming is on Adobe Radio. Listen to all the podcasts all of the time. All the time, listen to the podcasts. There's amazing podcasts and amazing music, and we play the best music, and we're the best in the whole world.
True story.
Yeah, that's true. Not just making it up, I tells you. It's all the truth.
Check out our merch at coolnerdweedshow.bigcartel.com. And what do we have? We've got coffee mugs. We have those adorable embroidered tie-dyed caps. Well, look, the one Sasha's wearing right now.
Oh, yeah, I am wearing it. Look, if you could see it. Look.
Yeah, we've got T-shirts. We have candles.
Yeah.
We have
all sorts of
all
stuff.
kinds of things.
And, yeah, we have codes, too. We're not just trying to money out of you. Oh, one more promotional thing. We are doing a Twitch. We're doing a Twitch. We are going to start a Twitch. We have a Twitch. And we're going to go live and YouTube, like you said.
Yeah,
right?
we're going to do both.
Yeah.
The Twitch is the same
Yeah.
at Cool Nerd Weed Show.
Yeah, Cool Nerd Weed Show. That's where you're gonna find us pretty much everywhere. And we're gonna try to do some different stuff. I think this Wednesday we're gonna start. We've been gathering up some intel from bud tenders all around the country, and I think we're gonna start off with that this Wednesday. If we change our minds, we'll let you know. But we'll promote that on our socials, even though Instagram. That's why I don't post, because Instagram bans or shadow bans us, takes our shit down anyway. So you got to be in the know. But tell all your friends and hang out with us on Twitch. And if you're a bud tender, or if you're not, or if you just want to hang out and talk about weed, hang out with us.
It's a VR sesh with the nerds.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll smoke. Have a good time. We used to do this a lot for our Instagram lives. We kind of started it during the pandemic, because we were away from each other a whole lot. And that was fun. We would do 420s.
Yeah, that was cool. But now this is bigger. You can interact with us.
Yeah.
I think easier, right? On the Twitch.
I don't know.
We'll see how it goes.
I want to say yes, but I'm excited because it's just a fun little new toy to play with. And, it'll be fun. It'll be a fun time. So, yeah, that's just what we got going on. That's what we're working with on this Monday. And today we're gonna, we might be a little bit all over the place in terms of theme, but we have some news and some thoughts on the news. I guess this would probably fall.
We salute you, the United States of Cannabis, under all 50 strains, one pre-roll, under bong.
Cool Nerd Weed Show on Adobe Radio.
Yeah, so this would fall under the United States of Cannabis, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, it would.
So we've been talking about the feds a lot, and you will probably hear this year, because it's an election year, there'll probably be some movement on the whole thing, on the whole is it going to be legal thing.
Yeah, the President Joe Biden and Vice President.
I've heard of him.
Have you heard of Vice President Kamala Harris?
Actually, no. Refresh me on who the fuck she is, because I don't think I've seen her in 4 fucking years.
Well,
I know she's a cop. Right?
She's a former prosecutor from San Francisco, DA. Put a lot of people behind bars for cannabis in her previous career choices.
Interesting.
Rather silent the last 3+ years.
Yeah, on just about everything.
So
just about it. When she watched women's rights go down in flames from her plane. Listen, I wanted the best for Kamala. I really did.
For sure.
I had high hopes. I was like, yeah, Callie is like pretty lit. Like, I mean, we've got our problems, but in terms of weed, we we're on top of it. And I was hoping things would change in terms of anything really, but cannabis wise, at least like that would be, I mean, who knows what's happening behind the scenes, but at the very least that would be something that like she would go out and talk to people about, or like make get expungement speedier, or a social equity in various states like California. Maybe she could start here even. That process would have gone. She hasn't done none of that stuff just yet.
Zero.
There's some time.
There's still a little. We've got a little, like a year left and change.
Well,
yeah. But Kamala Harris, VP Kamala Harris, came out on a video earlier this week, like trying to do like a victory lap, that claiming that federal marijuana policy has changed. While, Joe Biden did declare that, and saying that nobody should go to jail for weed, which is true.
Yeah, we agree.
We all agree on that. But, when they were trying to expunge federal records and that whole business,
right?
they were going to expunge minor possessions,
right?
Federally charged, like felony minor possessions, which is never get charged. Minor possession never gets charged federally as a felony.
Right. So it was kind of
a case out of a minor possession charge.
So it's a bit of a, like a, I'm trying to use like the right term, not like a false, but like, or a bait. And so it's a bit of a, like, we're saying we did a thing because technically they did, but nobody's really in jail or going to jail on a minor charge federally.
Yes.
Right. A misdemeanor federally. Or
a felony.
A felony. Minor felony.
A federal felony would not qualify as a minor possession charge.
Right. There's so many words there that I just was getting mixed up in my brain. But yes. So while sure they did that, there was not a lot of people who that benefited, because most people were in federal jail
for large amounts.
Right.
Large scale, whatever it is, large scale cultivation or sales or distribution, whatever it may be. So basically, nobody was released.
No, nobody was released. She showed a little map. Like, she was like, look, this is this is what we've done. This is the United States of Cannabis. And everybody was like, what? No, this isn't correct.
It's completely incorrect.
All the, like, I think the colors were wrong. Like, it was not correct. It was supposed to be reversed. Because she had highlighted the ones that had recreational and medical, and she only highlighted a few of them. So it should have been, like, the green said medical and medical only, and the yellow was supposed to be medical and medical only. So, like, California is green. California should have been yellow because it's recreational and medical. So it wasn't an accurate, like, even though it's a stupid mistake, like, it's wrong.
Well, the whole thing was wrong, and then you, like, make even more blunders by who sent her out with that map.
I know.
Like,
what?
Like, don't you have people that, like, fact check these things for you before you go on video?
It says that Florida, which you could listen to our episode from a couple weeks ago. We did a whole Florida episode. It says that Florida is recreational and medical. It is not.
No. Negative.
So, whatever. Like, silly mistake, but again, you've already like broken our trust, and now you can't even get colors on a fucking map right. Like, for goddamn sure that California is not just medical, like, just by looking at it. Did you look at it before you talked about it? Like, so whatever. So that's annoying. And it just kind of shows how little she actually cares about anything really, but this in particular. Nobody fucking cares about weed at the feds. Like they don't
they don't
care.
It's like the lowest of the lowest priority
They're
for
so
them.
stupid because that's how you fix America.
It's $1 billion industry, the cannabis industry.
When you do it
so-
right, like when you do it right, weed is so good. It's for the economy in so many ways. And we'll talk later about how you can do it wrong, but just in the terms of like face value weed. So yeah, I think she's like, because all the primaries are happening and all the things are happening, and she's like, we're pardoning tens of thousands of people for simple marijuana possession, like tens of thousands. I think it's been like 13,000 people. Tens implies more than 110. 13,000
yes.
is 110 and 3,000. It's basic math, Kamala. Basic maths. It's not multiple tens, and there's lots more people who are in jail for weed who should have been and should be expunged, and they haven't been. So
I feel like even if you were above that, you're in the 100-pound distribution frame for you probably served your time by now, and it's really time for you to get out. It's time.
or have your record expunged. I mean, people can't vote because they have a simple marijuana possession, on their record and whatnot. There's people who are saying that, there's still people in federal prison over nonviolent weed crimes, begging the administration to just kind of like do something. And I know that there's like a lot going on. There's I know. I'm not claiming to be like, what are they doing over there in Washington? Like, I know that there is a lot going on. And there has been for quite some time. It's been pretty rough in the world, for a while. And that's why, like, I urge Washington to see how this thing can make this better. But it's already too late. You know what I mean? Like, we're already dead. Like, the sheer amount of, like, backtracking we have to do as a society and a country
to
from weed.
To make everything right again.
Yeah, I don't know that we have the time. Like, I don't know that we're gonna. I would love to see it. I would love, like, it was so great when, like, I remember when Obama legalized gay marriage, right?
Yeah.
Like, everybody was like, oh my God, let's be together and let's get married, and things progressed and hope was in the air. I want to feel like it would be like that, but it's not, because it's already been so fucked that everything, unless they take it off of scheduling completely, and they're not going to do that. They're not going to be like, oh, this is what the feds say. They're going to be like, states, you figure it out, just like we've always done with everything, and they're going to dip. You know what I mean? They're going to be like, Schedule 3, okay, look at what we did. Great. It's not heroin anymore. Woo. And then they're going to call that a victory.
That's the other part of that's like the third part of this that Kamala Harris is touting as a victory is like possibly rescheduling cannabis from Schedule 1 to Schedule 3, which is not exactly, if you've listened to any of the other shows, is what we really want. We want it like taken off the schedule completely would really help the cannabis cause. But, the thinking is that if anything's going to happen, it's probably going to be rescheduled.
Yeah.
And which it hasn't been yet. It's in the conversation, but taking a victory lap on that is that's still good. Come on, Kamala.
I think it's just worth noting, as like you are Kamala, if you're Kamala, just to note that, like, there's still so much more work to do. And I think that not noting that just shows that the people who are deciding stuff for us are not quite aware of what they're dealing with. And I don't think that they know, like, she knows, like, how to enforce the law on the industry. She doesn't understand the industry and what needs to go, what needs to happen when you regulate something that's been illicit for ever, for recent history, when you're all of a sudden like, oh, it's fine now. There are a lot of things that tend to happen that you don't want and that you didn't ask for. So, and that's just in terms of like the laws and the lawmakers, like in terms of the people who can and cannot grow and get licenses, and all that stuff has to be figured out too. You want to leave it to the states, but look at what Florida is doing. Look at what Ohio is doing. Look at like all the states that were left to their own devices are really fucking up weed, like Florida with their like potential 10%. And Ohio's, I haven't even checked on Ohio in a long time. I feel like they've really been going through it.
Ohio's dragging their feet, just trying to stop cannabis from happening.
Right.
Even though that's what the voters wanted.
Even though it was voted in. You want to leave it to the states, but like that doesn't give us, like if you live in Ohio, who knows what Texas is going to do. Like you still can't get safe access.
I mean, Kamala Harris didn't even support like the 2016 adult use in California measure at all. When you spend your whole life being anti-cannabis and like doing the work of like the law to put people away for it, I don't know if you can really come around like in like 4 years.
What I feel like she could have done, and I know there's a lot going on. I'm not like one of those citizens that are like, well, they're just twiddling their thumbs over in Washington while we're just working over here. I'm not, like I don't feel that way, but I do feel like maybe they could have put it into the sketty that she goes and she visits a fucking weed grow, or she goes and she like goes to a place where it hasn't been legal, like a place where it was just legalized. It's Missouri, something like, whatever, like a state that really progressed in terms of legalizing weed. Any grow in California, there's so many of them. She could have gone and been like, this is what it looks like to have legal weed. This is what I wish was happening when I was the fucking cop in California. I wish we had this so I didn't have to put people behind bars because of the laws that I had to follow, that I didn't make up. Easy. Oh my God, I just did it. Look.
You solved it.
I should be the Vice President of the United States if we did it, Joe. I did it. I did it. So I don't know why she's so not, I mean, I do know why. It's whatever she thinks is the right thing to do politically, but like she wasn't down with 2016. She put a lot of people in jail, and she barely scratched the surface with anything in the present. So it's such a touchy time, and it's election year, and it's scary here in the United States. So I don't want to. I'm so hesitant to like be a dick, but like I kind of want to tell her to fuck off. If I were to be a dick, that's what I would say.
In rebuttal to this video that was posted.
I was glad she was elected, but she didn't.
I was, yeah. I wanted to be on the right side of history.
And I thought maybe she would see the error in her ways. Look at California and we'll talk about this in about 10 minutes, but wow, what a difference she could have made, or somebody could have made. If you look at California and the rise and fall of weed out here, and why it's rising and falling, and what's happening and why it's happening, like to fix that, to like tweak that, to make us again like the place to go for weed, the central of everything, like that would be a really great way to show you care about fixing the things that went wrong, and you'd make a lot of fucking money for the state and for the country just doing it that way. So I don't know, it just doesn't seem that hard on my end.
Well, they talk about if it was to actually become decriminalized federally or even rescheduled, that there's going to be an additional tax from the Fed, which
Wait. So there's going to be state tax?
If the laws were changed federally, that the Fed could impose another like 5% tax on cannabis in every state where it was grown. So you'd end up having to pay a federal tax, which okay. It would generate lots of money. Nobody wants to pay another fucking tax on anything.
Sure. No.
Is insane. We're already taxed up the yin yang. up the wazoo.
Yeah.
So, you know, but some good, you tax cannabis federally, it's just 1%, 1%
Yeah.
of the billions that it is accumulating, generating dollars in every state where it's legalized. Then you could do a lot of good for the world.
Yeah.
But
there's layers of good that could be done. It's not, it's not just about expunging records or making it safe to access or making money or charging taxes or being medicine. It's all of those things, and we're so behind in our stigma and our view that we can't even get ahead of it enough in legal states, to make it to break the stigma, let alone, across the country. So I don't think the administration has done enough to backtrack what came from Washington in the first place, which was just say no.
I lived through that. We all
me too.
did.
Yeah. That's an elder millennial Gen X time, and it's why we are the way we are. But yeah, we were. Yeah, there was. This is your brain on drugs, and yeah, there was an interesting amount of drugs on the streets back then, but weed really got lumped into that category tenfold when all that time was going on, and it's been really difficult to walk that back. It's even with California and compassion, I just think it's so hard to tell people it's okay that weed is available, because as we'll talk about, there are risks with unregulated illicit substances.
Absolutely.
It's not about the weed itself. It's about the stuff that has been created and whirled up around it. And now, in response to that, there are gangs. It's associated, if you are in jail for weed, you're probably in jail for a firearm or for, because you can't have a firearm with, there's so many ways to get in trouble when it comes to weed that it's just really difficult to convince, I think, our lawmakers to the highest of office that weed is okay to be associated with. And this bullshit of "we did it, Joe" is not. It's not accurate. Now all of a sudden she wants to stand by weed and be like, "Oh yeah, we love weed this whole time." after really fucking with it. So yeah, I'm not buying it. I don't love it. I can't stop her from saying what she wants to say, and probably weed being Schedule 3.
That's the way it's looking like it's going to go. Is it going to be, we're going to have Joe Biden and Kamala Harris for another 4 more years in office? Are they going to get it done in the next 4 years?
I mean, they said when they said they were going to reschedule it, the voters' impression or whatever jumped 11 points to 18 to 25. Yeah, they did, but there's a lot of stuff that's going to keep them home, which was making me afraid. I think they're going to try to use this as oh my God, all the other stuff that's happening right now, not a big deal. Don't even look at that, but look at the weed. Look at what we did for weed. Yay! I think that's what they're going to try to do. But young people are smarter than that.
Yeah, for real. All the information is there.
Yeah.
For everybody all the time. We're giving it to you. It's don't look over here. Yeah. Look over here. We did a lot for weed. Don't look over there.
Don't look over there. And they didn't do a lot for weed, so they're lying there. And there is other things going on. So always be aware of your surroundings and look everywhere. But we will end this part of the show saying that we sound very anti, whatever. We sound anti whatever. But we're not. We are for legalization in the right way that benefits people in the industry and consumers. We have yet to see that really happen anywhere, but we know that it's possible. We're still in the industry that's bustling. There's some snags, and I think that comes with being scheduled on Schedule 1. So if we can get it off of that, great. So if that's on a ballot of some sort, or you vote, or wherever, I mean, I think the feds are just going to do a sweeping motion. But if you are in a state that is now like ready to legalize, vote yes. Unless they don't support social equity, then vote no. Vote no. That's our advice.
That's sound advice.
But also, you can do whatever the fuck you want. And that's why it's a really cool thing that we can vote. So please vote. No matter what you do, fucking vote. Please. Please don't stay home. You don't know how bad it's going to be if you stay home. I'm begging you.
It's not too late to register to vote. Also, many states offer vote by mail. So you can stay home and still vote.
Yes. Good point. Charlemagne the God said that the couch is going to win the election this year. And I just don't want that to be true. And I know why. We just spent a half hour talking about why. We're fed up too. We're annoyed too. Trust us. I told her to fuck off. We're not, you know what I mean? We're not on good terms. But the alternative, I can't begin to tell you what it will be if you don't exercise your right to vote. And it could be an exciting time for weed if we get it there and we fix it. But I will tell you, Ms. Harris, you're sorely mistaken if you think it was your doing. Fucking map. We wouldn't even do that. Our podcast, who has like our lovely loyal fan base and our tiny little social medias, if we were going to put a graph that had information on it, we would lose our minds trying to make sure it was accurate.
We would check it and check it twice.
Silliness. Okay, we're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about some local...
Gummies, I got gummies. Do you want some gummies? It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show. It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show with TS and Sasha. Don't panic. It's organic.
And we're back.
We're back.
It's the Cool Nerd Weed Show. That's TS.
And that's Sasha.
And we're live on Adobe Radio and, of course, wherever podcasts are found. And you can Google us, Cool Nerd Weed Show. We have YouTubes, and we're also going live on Twitch this Wednesday. We'll let you know the time. Keep an eye on our social media. We get shadow banned, so just, like, check back. It'll probably be... We want to keep it to 420, but, like, we're working people. We're busy, you know. We have things to do. So we'll let you know the time. It will be in the evening, so you can sesh with us. Hang out there and get our merch at coolnerdweedshow.bigcartel.com and listen to Adobe Radio for everything, because we're really the best. We're just the best in everything. And that's not an exaggeration. We're talking about like how we feel like we've taken, in terms of weed, like some steps forward over the years, right? Like we've gotten some victories, things are getting better, and then simultaneously we are a million steps back somehow.
Well, yeah, the cannabis industry has always been challenging.
Yeah.
And the challenges continue. Hasn't gotten any easier, really.
No.
There's always going to be hurdles until a lot of these things are figured out, smoothed out.
I think initially the scary part was in California after legalization, because before that everybody was kind of existing relatively peacefully. Even cowboy shops, quote unquote, which just means they were operating not under Prop D or in 215, which was before weed was legal in California. So even those shops, even like the most illegal underground shops, all those, they kind of existed rather peacefully. Now, that's not to say there wasn't some scary stuff going on, up north. There has always been a challenging thing to face, but mostly it was, it was like everybody existed. Now, after legalization, it seems to me that first we dealt with the sadness of all of our friends losing their jobs and their grows and their life's work. And that's what we saw. Dispensaries had to close. A lot of our friends, we didn't know where they were going to work, including ourselves. So, yeah, that part was rough to get over. Then we got over the growing pains of, like, the industry actually changing and being taxed and traced and not free anymore. So we had to figure out that part of it. And then it's like 4 years later, or no, 8 years. How long has it been? 2024,
8 years?
8 years later, we are seeing, we're seeing that the business of cannabis out here has suffered. The legal business has suffered. I see a stat that says 15% of cultivators have surrendered their licenses.
Yes, that's a lot. That's horrible.
It's horrible.
Well, and the reason that is because 2 out of 3 consumers is still shopping in the illicit market.
Right.
Or in trap shops or traditional market or
Yeah.
rogue,
it's crazy.
Rogue delivery services, rogue shops.
And sometimes it's hard to tell. Like, if you are a tourist and you just look up weed, where do I get weed? You may get a cowboy shop on your Google result and not even know. It's hard to tell.
It's true. We get people in all the time, and they're tourists specifically come in and they say, "Oh, I went to the shop. It didn't really feel right when I went in, and everything was in jars, and they served me, and I bought this and it came in a little medical plastic bottle with the name written on it in Sharpie, like we did during the
2014.
Yes,
in New Jersey, they just started delivering in different places, and one of my friends was like, "Oh, well, I don't like the delivery service because I had to get in the car with the driver," and I'm like, "No, no,
that
no, nope." That was not a legal delivery service. That was your homie or whatever. That was somebody who you found on the listing that is delivering to you illegally, because there are protocols, right? Like, that's the one thing about regulation is we get testing protocols. Weed has to be a certain level of quality, and we get business protocols. Weed has to be in a certain place. Cash has to be in a certain place. Everything is accounted for. Everything is accounted for. If you feel shady in any sort of legal dispensary setting, it's not legal.
you might not be in a legal shop. If you felt uncomfortable and had to do something with a delivery service, like get into somebody's car, it's probably
you could report that
a legal service,
right? Like, if it was legal, you could report that to the Better Business Bureau. You can't do that now because it's illegal, and they're going to be gone by the time you realize that you were uncomfortable. There's just little things, and it's okay. It's okay because it's hard to know. And sometimes, even in California, you go to a place that doesn't have weed, doesn't have a dispensary. You look up, where can I get weed? And traditionally, you can get weed delivered to you. So everybody's done it. We've all done it. It's not anything wrong. I mean, legally it's wrong. Don't do it. But also, when I keep saying, when something has been illicit for so long, when it's regulated, it's especially when it's not accessible where you are, right? Like, you're in Malibu and you want, or you're in.
Well, Malibu is a good example.
Yeah, because they only have 2.
There was 2, and they didn't do adult use.
Yeah.
They didn't want medical for a long time. And then when Malibu did, they said there's 2 locations that could have medical that qualify in this city. And then once Prop 64 passed for adult use, Malibu said, we don't want adult use yet.
Right.
And they didn't embrace it.
You're all the way down the PCH, and you're not close to fucking What's the Malibu one? Didn't you used to work there?
Oh, the Malibu community.
Yeah, like MCC or whatever.
MCC,
Yeah. Yeah, you're not close to MCC. What do? You look up on Weed Maps, where can I get weed? And it says 0.1 miles, and you fucking call the delivery service, and you've just done something illegal.
Yeah, there are a lot of traditional delivery services that will service Malibu.
Right. So when you are a legal cannabis business person, you are like, well, what the fuck am I even trying for? So you don't want to do your business in California. You don't want to now, as opposed to 10 years ago where it looked so delicious and enticing because nobody understood what making a thing like cannabis legal meant. Everybody, that had deep pockets came and was like, oh yeah, we can totally profit off this. It's not going to be hard at all. No hoops will have to be jumped through. Nothing will have to be done. The product won't have to be any good. We'll just do it. And they found that was not the case.
Yeah, but 100%, all of these companies came in and flooded the market with like really sort of inferior products.
Yeah.
There were some quality products, but there was a lot of just average products, average vapes, average flower.
And it really was because you had to be rich, or you had to. You
did.
The problem with the new regulations were the taxes, and that's what made it that's what cut out everybody with like a certain level of knowledge and passion, and just kept the people with money. And some of them were like, oh, let me use people who were in the industry for a long time. They can help me. And some of them didn't do that.
There was another one big thing was like licensing fees.
Right.
Huge licensing fees.
Mm-hmm.
What's some of the smaller, the little craftier grower that's been doing it in the medical industry for a long time is not necessarily can afford a $100,000 fee before any cost of production are even involved.
And that X'd out a lot of people who were in the business, who wanted to be in the business, who had ideas, had talent, had all the things. They all were like, well, what the fuck are we doing? And some of them went to other places and tried there. Some of them stopped being in weed, and that really sucked. And businesses that weren't in California that would have the opportunity to come to California were like, no, that sounds like a horrible time over there. It sounds like you guys are really, really suffering. And the reason we're talking about this is because we came across a clip from California.insider on Instagram. If you want to find the clip, you can find the whole piece somewhere. It's very long, but it touches on the illegal market here in California and how out of control it's gotten. Just in it highlights one county in California, and the sheriff of that county is like, enough is enough.
Yeah, one of the desert communities. It's way out there. People are setting up massive greenhouse grows. They are polluting the environment. They don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
They're digging open toilets.
Septic tank. Yeah, they're not plumbing. There's no
plumbing.
There's no OSHA. There's no guideline for an illicit illegal grow anywhere, but they're using these huge bouts of land and putting in their containers full of a ton of weed. And it's not, the illegal activity isn't just coming from one place, right? Some people are like, well, it's this and it's deep rooted.
It is. It's a full rainbow of illicit activity from, it's not just one group involved. They always say the cartel
right
was as a blanket term, but it's really truly like I said, the full rainbow.
It's the United States of Benetton for sure. It is, and it because weed it has been illicit, so selling it and making money because there's a demand for it. So this is not a new thing, having illegal grows. On this scale, it's interesting because it's a ton of land that it's being used in the desert to grow illegally. It draws a bit of unsavory behavior. Wouldn't just be growing weed. If that were the case, that'd be chill. There's many documentaries about the Emerald Triangle and up north and the people who went missing and the people who go missing. We watched that documentary. What was it, like the
the one about
Chupacabra or something?
the Sasquatch.
Yeah, the Sasquatch, and
Yeah.
like they were like, we saw a Sasquatch, and we were like, oh my god, it's just a cartel, or it's just it's just violence. It's just violence in the community. But like, it's so horrible and it's so tragic that we have to come up with like a monster that was responsible for it. And really, the monster is the war on drugs, because this creates this activity. So these giant operations are existing, and there's violence, there's murder, there's lots of reports of awful behavior, of dirty behavior. It's not what you want to have in your county. The part that we want to play though and talk about, and I hope I can get it to play, is in one part of the video they mention how. So we talked about how Prop 64, the downfalls were locally you can't get it everywhere, and that makes people go traditional. And tax-wise, business people cannot pay those taxes, and new business people don't want to pay those taxes and exist in such a traditional market. But the other part is the cleanliness, and that is why we do like Prop 64. Is we like the quality of weed that regulation brings. It brings testing. It brings like the pesticides that we used before. We cannot use them anymore because they are bad for us.
Some of the fertilizers that were meant for ornamentals that were used
Yeah.
to make cannabis look pretty and have that bag appeal. They're not good to smoke, so those have been checked off the list in the legal market. They're commonly used in the illegal market. The traditional market. They're full of heavy metals. We can't have that in regulated cannabis.
Right. So let's play this.
I had marijuana from one of our illegal grows sent off to a lab, and there was 11 samples, and 10 of them failed the analysis. The numbers were too high on certain pesticides. That's alarming to me. Some people might say, well, what's the big deal? Well, it's going to a licensed facility that's selling marijuana. So what happened to the safe marijuana that we were all promised? There's a good chance that marijuana in a dispensary is contaminated.
Okay, so let's tackle this.
Yeah, just from that clip alone.
Yes.
He's suggesting that the illegal cannabis grown in the desert in his community is going to a regulated market.
Ooh.
That I don't believe that for a second. It's also a huge. It's really a. It's I think it's kind of irresponsible.
It's very irresponsible.
For the sheriff of that county to say.
Yeah. Well, unless he means cowboy shop, or you know how like the labs were kind of like corrupt.
Well, for sure, yeah.
Maybe that happened. Maybe because remember we saw a story about that was like we took samples from it was like on KTLA or something, and it was like they went to a random dispensary in the desert, took samples, and they came. Or no, it was in New York.
It was
It was somewhere else. So I don't know. While it's extremely irresponsible to blanket suggest that a legal dispensary, that is probably not so. It doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to ask if everything's passing everything and you're a customer and you're going to a dispensary. We won't get annoyed. It sucks that we have to say that, no, our product doesn't have metals in it, but I don't know.
Okay, so everything comes with a lab result. And if you can track every single plant in California is tagged with a tag and a number, and everything's batched.
Right.
So the theory is, you could track anything that's purchased, you could track it back to that specific plant and that farm, and know where it came from. Is it possible that some things can be in the mix? I don't know. It's kind of unlikely. I feel like it's highly unlikely that some regulated above the board cannabis operation is suddenly going to start purchasing this flower from these desert greenhouse growers.
We have so much marijuana out of Siskiyou County, and that's just our county. But we know it's going to dispensaries, and we know it's dirty now. People are smoking it. We don't know the long-term effects of smoking cannabis with these pesticides on them. Can you imagine like a 70-year-old cancer patient that's going and buying marijuana from a reputable place and finding out that it's contaminated with pesticides? This is a public health issue, potentially a public health crisis.
I don't know. That is a bold statement. I think what he's implying is that there's so much weed coming out of this county that he serves that we lost track of everything. But that's not possible, really. If you are going to a dispensary that has a license number that is reputable, reputable, yeah, but is legal, they have to receive. They have to receive things with batch numbers and lot numbers and distros and a system is in place. The corruption would be so deep if there was a dispensary owner that was working with a fucking grower, that was working with a lab that fucked the results just to get their product out there to a legal dispensary. That's what he's implying. I don't know if it runs that deep, and I'm going to have to say no, like you're saying. That is a little bit sensational.
Yeah.
I also don't want to go on record saying that because I don't know. It's fucked out there. And
For sure.
And the law has helped it be fucked out there. So what we're not going to be able to answer this in 2 minutes, but we don't know what to do to make this better because the law there are loose laws in California. If you get caught with a big grow like that, it's a bit of a slap on the wrist situation.
Yeah, well, they said it's a $500 fine, so
I mean, the scheme of things
that's
are
really
making billions
really
of
nothing.
dollars. Yeah, so but we also don't want to say, and he did say this to his credit, the sheriff. He did say, okay, so what do you want to do? Make the laws tighter, send people to jail? But we don't want people in jail for weed. So the cycle just continues. So I don't think he necessarily wants that. I'm not sure. Take their money, or don't let them apply for or something. The only thing I can think of is take their money. If something like that is happening, to where it is it escalates to a public nuisance. Again, don't think that when you go to a dispensary you're getting dirty weed. If you go to Siskiyou, whatever county. Maybe it might be. I don't know. But if you're going to a dispensary, especially in the major places, your weed is clean. And that's the whole point. But if you want to ask, you are welcome to. If you want to ask where the labs are, all of that information is available to you. That's why it's litty titty that it's regulated, because we can check that.
Yeah, come through. Ask me. I'll give you all the answers. I know where everything was grown. We will track it back. I will show you the COAs.
It's all there. But I also have to go back and say that this in this state, we've been wanting to talk about this. Maybe we should skip the huff and puff and go all the way, because we have been wanting to talk about this.
Yeah.
Why the fuck in California, where weed is so good, is the legal market not just overflowing? And we knew, because that's why we started the show. We watched it from the second it became recreational, and there was so many flaws, and we voted no for it. So that's why I gave you the advice that we gave you. But we knew that safe access was so important, and clean weed was so important, because what young sheriff, whatever his name, said, that, yeah, you don't want the thing that you're looking to as medicine to make you more sick. That just puts some badness on weed's name. So I don't know. I don't know what you do to make this stop. What do you do? Fix it. I did the vice president.
Okay. Here's my plan for Siskiyou County, the desert communities.
And maybe California.
All of California.
Yeah.
We're going to start with the desert, and then I'll fix all of California as a result. So, okay, number one, you got to clean up. You got to clean it up. Clean up that part of the world. But this is what we're going to do. We're
Like,
going to
close them down.
We're going to shut them down. We're going to give legitimate farmers the opportunity, a little bit of amnesty. If you didn't like fuck up your land,
Okay.
like really pollute the fucking land.
Okay.
Let's say you're a conscious grower.
Sure.
We're going to give you the opportunity to become legal. We're going to license you in the county.
Okay. Okay.
We're going to give you the opportunity to come above board.
So basically, like, open it up to not just people with big pockets. Like, kind of do like
A more affordable
yeah.
way into the legal market.
Okay.
Even, and you're going to get your provisional license. And once you prove after a year or two
Okay.
that you can follow the laws, you can grow clean cannabis, then we will give you a permanent license. As long as everything's testing, you're following the rules, you're not polluting the fucking land. There's plenty of land out there that could
There's
be
so much land.
that could be developed for farming.
And what do you do in 2 minutes? What do you do about like the local law?
The local
Like, do you like how like in Malibu, you can't get weed? Like, how do you fit? Because that's a big part of why people turn traditional.
Oh, okay. Well, you have to present it to the locals of Malibu that people are going to buy cannabis no matter no matter what your city says. Like, somebody's going to drive in and do sort of a traditional delivery service,
Right.
or you can put a couple of storefronts on the PCH and
Maybe
make some
like-
tax dollars off of it.
Yeah, or like if they don't want storefronts, maybe have delivery services. Like, you can like open up a delivery service that like services more places, Like, so like you like right now it would be really weird to like I know like whatever Grass House or whatever it is that like they're just a delivery service and they go everywhere. So maybe
yeah.
you expand that, like you give funding or you extra taxes off if you deliver
If you don't
100 miles out of the fucking.
if you can't have
county.
a storefront, then you can
You can have a delivery service.
you have a delivery service.
and maybe maybe it doesn't operate in Malibu proper, but it's like right outside Malibu or something. And
But you can operate within the Malibu city limits.
I love it. We solved it. Thank you for listening to the Cool Nerd Weed Show. We are going to be the president. Follow us everywhere. Find us, Cool Nerd Weed Show. Google us. Listen to Adobe Radio all of the fucking time. Be careful. Love your weed and take care of yourself and drink a lot of water. And
Don't panic.
it's organic.